call this meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Review of the minutes and approval. So I'd like to make changes, make a motion. If there's some changes, additions, whatever, speak up now. James makes a motion to accept the minutes. Paul Barter seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So carried. Treasurer's report. Treasurer's report was sent out. You'll notice that we received our first and our second quarter funding. Second quarter or just the first? Second one has to be in by the end of this month to submit in. I reviewed the books with Jonathan. I asked him to void out 2 checks that were written back in 16 and have not been cashed. And there's one that was written in April of this year that has not been cashed. I asked him to make contact with that person and see, did they lose it, whatever, so that we can get that taken care of to keep everything else is September in there. Any questions for Jay on the treasurer's report? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So moved. Second.
Mark made the motion, who seconded?
I did.
Art Narno. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So carried. This time we're going to go into the Russell Herman CON. Thank you everybody for attending so that we had our quorum to be able to do this vote. Our stenographer is here and she found us even with our moves, so that was good. So, CON, we received a request for a transfer of operating authority from Russell Rescue to Herman Volunteer Fire Department. The CON transfer initially was received on 6/24. It was deemed incomplete and returned on 7/2. It was resubmitted on 8/13 and deemed incomplete again. 8/21, we received some additional paperwork. It was still deemed incomplete. 9/4, we got the additional information, and the information was forwarded to the state. However, we still did not have the certificate of incorporation. They were working on that, but we wanted to get the stuff to the state to see if there was any issues there. And they did have a couple. They wanted there was some social security numbers missing and resumes.
To the FNCs.
Yeah, so that was done and submitted on 9/16. So at this point, we're here to vote on this. It was posted on the website on 9/17. So the CON committee brings forth a seconded motion to approve the transfer of operating authority from Russell Rescue to Herman Volunteer Fire Department. This time, any questions from the floor? Nobody's here from either of those agencies, correct?
So the application and everything is complete?
It is, yeah. It's been a little bit of a process. Bruce Wright. If you could just say your name if you have any questions, just because this has to be part of the court reporter, just so we get the information in there. It was a little bit of a struggle getting the information that was needed and having it legible and stuff. But they finally got there. And you've been working with them for over a year, correct? On trying to.
With Russell Rescue. Ann Smith, as program agency director, I've been working with Russell Rescue along with the St. Lawrence County Emergent or Deputy Director. We met with them multiple times, and they were issued a statement of deficiency from the Department of Health. That did move things along a little more. We had some joint meetings with Herman and Russell we also involved their municipalities And from there, that's where the decision was made to transfer the CON. Russell Rescue discussed doing a BLSFR. They were provided the paperwork through Chris Stransky, who was the one who has done the paperwork for Herman, and I have not seen the BLSFR paperwork as of date, but all of the application material required for the transfer was submitted, and the F&C is cleared.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we need to have a roll call vote. Jonathan?
James Barr,
Yes.
Paul Barger,
Yes.
Karen Blackburn,
Yes.
Mark Dalton,
Abstain.
Mark Devers,
Yes.
Ken Gardner,
Yes.
Art Garno,
Yes.
Larry Gerard,
Yes.
Jay Gannett,
Yes.
Ron Hantz,
Yes.
Rich Hughes,
Yes.
Walter Lehman,
Yes.
Robert McKenzie,
Yes.
Kristen Johnson,
Yes.
Carol Munit,
Yes.
Lance Ronas,
Yes.
Debbie Singleton,
Yes.
Ron Smith,
Yes.
Dottie Suter,
Yes.
Mark Tuttle,
Yes.
Bruce Wright.
Yes.
Yes, 1 abstain.
So carried, we will submit the paperwork to the state in the next couple days to keep the process moving. This time we'll close the transfer vote that we had to do so Savetta can be on her way. Thank you.
Just a quick announcement while she finishes up, the bathrooms, they are locked, the key is out there on the desk, so halfway down the hall on the left, you'll find both the men's and women's room. Keys are appropriately labeled. And then down across from the elevator for the girls, there's a couple more bathrooms. It's incognito though, it says coat rooms. So, go in the coat room. There is a bathroom there.
Okay, we'll continue on. Enforcement list. Ursula Bazmore from South Ozone Park, New York, suspended for 1 year effective 5/31/19. The suspension is stayed. Placed on probation for 3 years effective 5/31/19. Assessed a civil penalty of $2,000, of which $1,000 is stayed for violations of 10 Part 800.16A11. Jonah Yoon from Plainville, New York, suspended for 1 year, effective 5/31/19. The suspension is stayed. Placed on probation for 3 years, effective 5/31/19. Assessed a civil penalty of $2,000, of which $1,000 is stayed for violations Part 800.16A11. And those are all I have for enforcements. Other communication, you'll see a flyer out there on the table. Our secretary of the REMSCO, Dave Sherman, his wife has been diagnosed with cancer, a very aggressive form of cancer, and they're having a benefit on the last Saturday of the month. And so the flyers are there if anybody is interested, and our thoughts go out to Dave and his family. Other correspondence.
So I have one here to read that we received in the office. It was addressed to South Jefferson Rescue Squad. This is to whom it may concern, on behalf of the New York State Department of Health, Bureau of Emergency Medical Services, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate you on receiving the New York State EMS Council's EMS Agency of the Year Award. So congratulations to South Jeff Rescue.
Any other correspondence. Go into committee reports. Air Medical. Mark?
Nothing too exciting that I'm aware of. Just three things of notation. One is due to the deployment of the existing medevac on Fort Drum, Air Methods has a one-year contract there, and they're operating August 1st through July 31st of 2020 with the option to extend pending the military's deployment. Both LifeNet of New York and Mercy Flight had their educational conferences in the last month and were well attended. And the third thing I have is, I'm sure you've seen on the news, and much thanks to Matt Yelton and the folks at Mercy Flight, but Lewis County General is putting in a designated landing zone. Getting a fair amount of commentary on the terminology there. In all practicalities, it's a helipad, but it can't be called a helipad because if you call a landing zone at a hospital helipad, it has to meet all the FAA requirements that are quite extensive. So again, if you follow the local news at all, Climax was shut down a couple years ago. It was sold, recently resold. That really has not been a great alternative, so it's going to be nice to be able to have a designated area to land the helicopter on site at Lewis County General Hospital. I don't know if Matt has anything specific from Mercy Flight.
We're doing training with the grounds crews Wednesday, final walkthrough the middle of next week, and the unveiling the week after. So by the end of October, it will be fully operational. And the fall education day, we actually had quite a few people from the North Country. I was very happy. Totaled out at 155 people, which is triple the size. But amazing outcome from the North Country especially.
Great. Any questions for Air Medical? Auditing, I gave you a report when we did the treasurers. Bobby is not here yet for the bylaw. We did the CON. I'm not aware of any other CONs coming in, but Ron will tell you we don't know we have any, and then all of a sudden they show up. So
I will just add, I get frequent calls to see from news reporters to see if Carthage Hospital is going to be putting in a CON. We've had no such correspondence with them, so I'm not sure where that's coming from. And the other one that we will probably see before the end of the year and may have to do a special meeting is currently right now the Village of Morristown Fire Department has an ambulance and the village is dissolving. So it'll be a transfer of an operating certificate for them because the village is dissolving. So we may see that one. I have given them the information.
Transfer to the town or what?
They are going to a fire district, I believe.
So hopefully they don't wait until 25th of December this year.
When is the town slated, I'm unaware, when is the town slated to?
Village.
Village, excuse me, I'm sorry, 12/31 of this year.
Okay.
That's all. We'll get on it.
Short time.
They have the paperwork. They're aware this needs to happen.
We'll talk.
Transfer don't have a 30-day time limit.
Yeah, but here's the issue, if the corporate entity no
Doesn't
longer
exist,
exists,
then they don't-
well, then you no longer have the ability to operate for more than 3 days. So we can move along before that would be nice. That's kind of my thought process. We'll talk later, thank you.
Next thing is executive. We have developed a independent contractor agreement. I'm pretty sure we talked about this at the last meeting. we need to have a written agreement with Dr. Delaney to be our regional medical director, so everything is spelled out. She is fine with it. It does have to be notarized, so, I will be taking that, getting 2 copies notarized, and then she has to do the same. But it's effective, I've made it effective as of today, and went through March 31st of 2022. And then we can readdress it later on. But she is fine with everything that's spelled out in there, and we are as well. It's just delineating what's happening. It's one of those things that the state has said that we need to have, so that will be taken care of. Legislation, Dave is not here. Any legislation from state council that we need to discuss? I see it on News Junkie today, Cuomo signed a bill about ambulance services and PHI and stuff, but I haven't had a chance to read it yet.
The article just outlines how ambulance companies cannot sell patients' demographics and private health information to pharmaceutical companies, other proprietary medical enterprises.
Which you shouldn't be doing anyways, so.
One would think.
Okay,
Apparently it happened somewhere.
yeah. Carol, membership.
We have 2 applicants that, got in all their materials and it's complete. So we are recommending, Matthew R. Yelton and Joshua Levesque.
Levesque.
Membership, I see that? Levesque, sorry.
And they're both
For
from
membership.
Lewis
In
County.
Lewis County. We also, those would be for membership, we have one other letter that came, but we still need to have that applicant for the public review. So,
What organizations do they represent?
Constableville Volunteer Fire Department for Yelton, and Josh Levesque, who was kind of searching rescue.
Both for Lewis County.
and Lion Falls.
In Lansville, right, sorry.
I was gonna say, Mark, I have him first.
Yes,
Yeah, but we pay him.
both of us, actually.
Valid point.
We
So,
share.
we're looking for a vote for these 2 applicants.
I thought it was submitted. I thought it was submitted the last time, and that's how it came
We
forward.
do.
Run them one at a time.
We do need to vote
Okay.
on them one at a
This is
time.
Matthew Yelton, up for membership.
I make
for Lewis
motion
County.
for the approval of Matthew Yelton.
That comes as a seconded
Second
motion
I'll
from the membership committee.
Okay. Do you want a vote?
All those in favor of Matt Yelton, signify by raising hands. Make sure we don't have any opposed,
Yeah.
abstentions. Thank you.
Okay. The second one is for Josh Levesque.
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 That's
Oh,
the
there we
second.
go. Can I have a motion? Second, we don't need a second motion, we need a vote.
All those in favor of Josh Levesque joining the council? Opposed? Abstentions?
Okay.
Very good. So we still have a few openings, folks, so, we gotta figure out what we need to do to fill these vacancies, or if we need to open them up to other counties to fill the vacancies so we can get full, so we'll go through and look at what we still have open, and, letters were sent out to everybody after the last meeting with what was missing, and that's how we got Josh's and Matt's stuff that was missing, but we had some others, but they did not submit the stuff that was required, so.
We have one, we're not sure whether we have the application or not, so we gotta find a folder.
That's the newest one?
Yeah, because I was sent, help me with the name, Bob.
Yancey.
Yancey.
Melissa Yancey.
Melissa Yancey. I got the secondary stuff, but we're not sure where the application went or whether we have it.
We'll check into all that.
So we'll look at that.
And she will be Lewis County.
Right.
Nothing for nominating at this point, that will be the February meeting. Peer,
No report.
no report for peer. Program agency,
And we do for the committees, we don't have to list.
I was trying to get some positions filled, so we'll put these two on, we'll get an updated list out with the committees.
All right, so I'm gonna mix the program agency and the REMAC report together, and I know that many of you have sat through it, so just bear with me. The Regional Stroke and Trauma Advisory Committees will be meeting October 11th. Following that, Ron Hance, Chelsea Kroger, myself, I was thinking there was one more. No, Mark couldn't make it, but we'll be attending the impact teams Let's Not Meet Like This training following both meetings. Information from June, there was some copies of the dashboards that SUNY State tracks on trauma and stroke if anybody's interested. It looks like we're doing a good job of pre-notification of stroke. They use the last known wow metric of less than 6.5 hours. But we're not documenting it so well. We only have 71% of the time that was documented. But there's some other data on there if you're interested. So the New York State CME manual is out, which will affect recertifications for those who recertified via the CME manual. Does it affect January 1st? So the first people to use it will be those with an expiration date of February. There's a 6-month transition period. There's going to be an education session at Vital Signs regarding this. One of the requirements that you'll see when you read it, it talks about participating agencies having to be electronic by January 1st, 2022. I ask you to please tell our VLSFRs that are involved, do not panic. There will be a solution for them by that time. Okay, so they don't have to run out and buy a charting system. Just hold on, there should be a solution. We'll work to try and make sure that everybody's up and running and good to go with this. But we got a couple years to do it, so that was really the big thing with that. Couple medical director changes, so Dr. Howland will be taking over from the Senior Volunteer Emergency Unit, and Dr. Gray will be taking over for Carthage Area Rescue Squad as Dr. Pink is no longer in the area. So some level of care changes, so J.S. Coster, I've been out there in Portland a couple times to inspect them. Right now they have all their equipment, we're awaiting the blood glucometry limited license before they can go to the A&T level. As you know, Russell Rescue's CON just transferred to Herman Rescue tonight. Richville, DeKalb, or as the state has it in their database, DeKalb, Richville, ALSFR surrendered their ALSFR CON. They have a BLSFR in place now. Redwood Ambulance surrendered their CON. They were a BLS transport. They now have a BLSFR in place.
And I want to give you a little background on Redwood and how much work has been done to try to get them to either staff their ambulance or become BLSFR. Ann had been up there numerous times for meetings, went through things. We had another meeting, and they were like, the chief was, yeah, we decided to surrender. We need a letter. What does it need to say? Got all confused. I said, I will write the letter for you. So all you'll have to do is print it on your letterhead and sign it. So Ann drives up to Redwood. You can't get to Redwood from anywhere. Ann drives to Redwood to get the paperwork.
River Falls to Redwood, that was the two.
Gets the paperwork, the chief never signed the letter. So tries getting a hold of him, he's on a job site. So she has to drive out of Redwood to a job site to get him to sign the letter so that we could submit their paperwork. So, when we talk about these agencies surrendering and doing different things, it's usually after a tremendous amount of work on Ann's side to try to get things to happen. We certainly don't want to lose any agencies, but at least now, Alex Bay has that area. They'll be covering it because they already had it on their CON. They expressed a desire at that time to have a first responder class. Paul and Chris responded and set up a class and said, we can do one. We'll do one up in Redwood for you. And did it end up being a go, Paul?
Yes.
you got enough folks finally to do it.
Me too.
So they're gonna do a class up there to help them with that, so.
And, you know, Guilfoyle also covers that area, so we made sure we had stakeholder meetings with the other CON covering entities, as well as the municipalities, so. The Harrisville changed to an AEMT level. They were losing their one active, critical care who was moving out of town. They didn't have their narcotic paperwork completed, and the decision was made to change to the AEMT level. I know that Bob McKenzie was a great asset and helping out, ensuring that they had the equipment, just that, you know, the other equipment removed and what needed to be left for at the AEMT level. So it's been busy. So the one regional BLS adjunct that was approved was for DeGrasse, Clare, South Russell Volunteer Fire Department to do BLS Narcan. So EPCR agencies, we brought on board Sackett, Seaway Valley, Sackett Harbor, Seaway Valley, Beaver Falls. Sackett's is up and running, Seaway and Beaver Valley and Beaver Falls are both in startup. And really, as far as our transport and ALSFR agencies, that list on the bottom is all that's left that are not electronic. So we're in really, really good shape within this region as far as getting everybody moved. As you remember, the REMAC had made a motion that all ALSFRs and transport ambulances would have to move within 3 years, and that timeline is up. I think it's a year from now or so. There's a year left on that, so they've really done a great job at moving forward. The Coverdale Stroke Program, we're still encouraging the hospitals to get signed up on Hospital Hub, because once we transfer over, get all the agencies transitioned to NEMSIS V3, this is where they're gonna be able to get their charts as faxing of charts starts to get phased out. It's becoming old technology. So we do still have some agencies that, one being a large agency that's still on NEMSIS V2, which is none of their control. All of the stuff is being done on the state side before we get good data into V3. So there's our PCR delinquencies. We are now being required to submit our PCRs monthly. With all these folks going electronic, we weren't sending our PCRs every month, but now we have to. Actually, we were holding them for a year and then sending them, so we're back to sending them monthly now. So there's a whole list of upcoming CME skills sessions. I know there's a lot on there, but they are on our website, so I'm just gonna skip through there. CME evaluator agency applications, they were all approved, as well as Constableville to be CME evaluator agencies. I did get a chance to go out in Parishville and Ogdensburg to do inspections during the last sessions, so. Training that's been done, I've done BLS skills sessions, Doralona, Ogdensburg Fire Department, Copacabana, Ogdensburg, you can see on the other one. Lisbon Fire Department and Lyons Falls Fire Department. We've received some fantastic feedback, especially from the Lyons Falls Fire Department, from the BLS providers that are like, you know, this is great just to get our hands on the stuff, and it makes them feel more confident in case they're faced with having to utilize those that they don't use as often or as not as comfortable with as ALS providers are. So the CME manager trainings, I did 4 sessions. We didn't get a great attendance on them. The last session I recorded, it's pretty dry, but it's there. So if anybody needs to go back in, it is posted on the website. It's about 45 minutes long. It addresses ALS and BLS stuff. So we had a great airway class, and Dr. Cartier did a spectacular. I know, but I love one. So Dr. Coates helped us on that one. Dr. Cartier did a spectacular trauma lecture at our courtroom EMS day. We had 22 participants, but most of them were from out of the area, and that was a free training. And it was really, really, really good. And we have a leadership conference. You can save the date for February 1st, 2020. It will be at the Grand View between Morristown and Ogdensburg on Route 37. This will be our second annual. The last one, we had about 60 providers attend, so that was really good. We look forward to another good year. We're working in conjunction with NAHEC on this. So, we look forward to that. And of course, Spring Flame, we're starting to recruit vendors and speakers. Those are the ALS inspections I've been out and have completed. Everybody was completed. J.S. Coster didn't have all the equipment for the AEMT level the first time, so they obtained it, and then I went back down there. We made a day of it. So the survey I talked about, I'm going to be working with some folks to target. It's a survey the state's doing. They want to, it's a salary survey, and they want me, each region, or I do believe they may want 5 in each county. I have to clarify that. The 5 EMS agencies with a mix of not-for-profit or commercial, and then 5 other healthcare workers or like public service, law enforcement, firefighters, and even sanitation workers that they discussed to complete these surveys to send back to the state. They're going to aggregate the data for John. And so any volunteers to complete, please let me know. Or if you have anybody you know who you think would complete this, from any of the other entities, input would be greatly appreciated. Jonathan, talk about EM Resource.
So we're starting to roll out with EM Resource. Tom Zecker and I have met with SMC, River Hospital, Carthage Area Hospital, and Governor Hospital to start getting the ball rolling with them. We've seen Carthage start to utilize the system a little bit. Governor was very familiar with it. Jay Moore worked with it down in Syracuse. River really liked the functionality of it, being able to see the availability of the people around them. Not only the hospitals, but also the EMS agencies eventually. But they were really contingent on Samaritan coming online with it. We've met with Samaritan. We've not gotten a lot of feedback from them moving forward with it. We harass them as much as we can, but we're trying. All of them see it as a really great tool. We are rolling out to a handful of Jefferson County agencies, and then we'll start to pilot it out bigger. Guilfoyle started working, setting it up for Indian River Ambulance. Evans Mills Ambulance, Carthage Ambulance, and Fort Drum Ambulance are demoing it right now, putting their statuses in to see the functionality of the system. But with Samaritan being a very big key player, some have reservations because they want to really see Samaritan come online.
Yeah, we should get there soon.
Yep.
Alright. So, thank you, Jonathan. Pediatric emergency care coordinators, please help us recruit some more agencies to appoint one. Those are the current agencies that we have. You know, they are there as advocates for their pediatric patients and, you know, to try and ensure that they have, you know, the required or the needed pediatric equipment on board the ambulances and to just promote pediatric education. They don't have to do the education. We'll be sharing resources with them. And the sign up is on the website, or just contact Jonathan or I and we'll direct you that way. I did pull a report on ketamine and fentanyl. I was careful when I said it. For the region. This is to kind of give you an idea where we'll start being able to pull better data. Unfortunately, we're still trying to meld the data between 2 systems until the full transition takes over, but, you know, there was a time when I remember years ago where we manually had to review every paper PCR to get numbers like this. So we've come a long way, baby, and I'm very excited, once we get everybody to NEMSIS V3, is we can actually make decisions with some data. When we're building protocols, when we're looking at issues and all of that, but I just figured with this group, I'd like to see the numbers, and the data in V3 is more extensive and it doesn't match the V2 field, so that's why it's hard to meld the data together, but we pulled in facility transport reports and we use it for Narcan reports routinely, but trying to get the word out there. We had a discussion following one of the difficult airway courses where we only had 8 people. Are we doing a good enough job getting the word out there for things? You know, I was sending out email after email after email to people, just saw my email and went, it's Hannigan, and can't even look at it. So we've done a few things. Again, it's my better judgment. I knew it needed to be done. I'm just not a Facebook fan. But we did put a closed group together in Facebook, and we did that. I think we launched it just before Labor Day, right, gentlemen? We have 323 members already. And, you know, we're averaging about 154 views per post. So, those are the website views. We have the EMS weekly update. Again, people are looking, half the people out there are looking at it, but they're not necessarily clicking through to the main articles. And on that weekly update, it's really just kind of a blurb. And then we have a director's newsletter, which actually is when there's something more urgent or extremely important goes out on that, but we're not seeing many people following through, although with that one, I would venture to say that one has all the information in it that needs to be. There's not a need to click through, so I'm not as concerned about that low percentage of opening as I am this one up here. But that's how we're putting the word out here, and quite frankly, if somebody says they don't know something was going on, they have failed to engage.
And I think we are eventually getting through to everyone too, because everything that we're sending out in both the director's letter and the EMS weekly update are also getting posted on the Facebook group and then linked back to our website. Because with it being a closed group, you can't share from whatever is in there. So I try to at least make an effort to put the link in there, so if somebody wants to share it, they can share it through the link to our website.
So if you guys don't know, because you guys should be advocates for getting EMS information out there, especially since we're in a system. As you can see from my reports of agencies surrendering CONs and no ALS providers, but on our Facebook, you scroll down, all you gotta do is click which ones you wanna see, put in your email address, first name, last name, they can subscribe, unsubscribe, and that's really all they have to do to enroll. And then the Facebook, if you go to the Facebook, FDRHPO Facebook page and go to groups, you will then see we're the only group in there. So you'll see the North Country Fire EMS community, and you can ask to join. It's a moderated group. We see all posts where they go out, so if somebody's inappropriate, we can decline to, and we've had a couple come through that were sales pitches that we declined to post. And we've had a few sales reps that we declined membership to. So, we're trying to watch it. There's a couple questions that come up, although we're having an issue, they don't show up on everybody's phone. I think it's an Android problem. So that's how we get there. Please help us get the word out. So just some miscellaneous things. I had the opportunity, and Karen, thank you for the invite, but I presented on a panel at the Rural Health Conference. Karen, do you have anything? You were there. What was your thoughts on it?
It was good. It was the New York State Association for Rural Health. They're all about advocacy. I'm sad it wasn't more well attended, but they're just now starting to get into EMS more. So I'm hoping that they're going to keep pushing that agenda forward.
So, you know, it was great to have the opportunity to present there. I also went and met with Turin Fire Department, a meeting to discuss opportunities to ensure coverage for their community. Again, they're suffering just like everybody else with only having a couple of EMTs and having trouble covering their calls. So we talked about different opportunities. Then all those other meetings that are up there. And Jonathan covered the Jefferson County EMS meeting for me. I didn't make it to Lewis County. Mark, I didn't make it to I didn't even make it to St. Lawrence County. Mark changed the date on me, so. He had to cover that one. So a couple other things, we discussed the protocols and the collaborative protocol update in South Jefferson is, so a while ago, a policy statement came out to do 12 lead acquisition for BLS. At the time, because ALS couldn't even transmit ECGs, that was tabled to allow BLS to acquire and transmit ECGs. It was brought up again tonight. South Jeff is going to be doing a pilot program. It really makes a lot of sense for them where they're located. And we'll go from there. The 2019 ALS collaboratives, I'm going to be working with the 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 other regions. We're going to be doing a short PowerPoint with the changes and do a quiz on the online system for that. Excuse me. And just a reminder that the New York State has put out the new BLS protocols and their new learning management system, which eventually the regions will have the ability to use, is what I'm hearing. They're currently working on giving us access so we can see who's done the BLS protocol updates. So we'll be able to communicate that back out to agencies. And all levels of care need to do that CFR to paramedic. What I miss? Any questions for the program agency?
Larry, safety.
Nothing at this time, but if someone has an issue they'd like to see discussed, please let us know and we'll take it up.
SEMSCO and CMAC, Mark.
All right, so the SEMSCO or CMAC and SEMSCO meetings were 2 weeks ago. It was good to see some actual forward motion at the state level. And there was a much different atmosphere because progress is finally occurring. So the department is at its highest staffing level that it's ever been, or equal to its highest staffing level that it's ever been at. There's still a few positions open, including I believe 2 in the Syracuse area, which I'm assuming is 1 now because Mike Ragosi just got a promotion, which we're happy about. As Ann reported, the CME program, you'll need to be electronic by 2022. Wadsworth, they made some changes to ambulance transfusion services. They have not yet posted the updated policies and requirements. The way it sounds is that the program agencies will be contracted with the facilities, and then the ambulance services will be contracted with the program agencies in an attempt to streamline the process instead of every facility needs Wadsworth's approval. Medical standards was always incredibly entertaining. There was a lot of New York City stuff. The only thing that was medically or appropriate for this forum interesting is they're doing a pilot on nebulized breath-activated ketamine for acute traumatic injury. So it's associated with one of the trauma centers down there. Some changes to the collaborative, which will be coming out eventually. Again, the learning management system is up. You need, all providers need to complete it by 12/31 or they take your birthday away. Starting this month, CLIs and CICs will be able to do computer-based testing. Q1 of 2020, all levels will be able to do computer-based testing. It's a Pearson's learning concept where you make an appointment with a test center at a date and time that you feel you want to do it. You drive there, they strip search you, check your ID, take your $28 and put you on a computer in a proctored setting, and you take the exam. Once you do it, once you pass the exam, you will be able to practice because you will not be able to register for the exam until the state has received the end of class stuff, including the practical skills exam. So they are claiming they will have about a 72-hour turnaround, in which case students will get an email that says you can go take an exam, or you can take an exam on the third Thursday of the night at 7 p.m. Once they start the computer-based testing option, on-site testing will no longer be an option, paper testing will continue to be an option, and we do believe that there is a test site in Watertown. It's through PSI. The new CME programs are up, and CFRs will be allowed to be in the CME program.
I forgot to mention that, you got it.
Yeah, so CFRs will be eligible to research in the CME program as
That's
well.
huge. That's huge for our area.
Anyone going to vital signs, I would suggest attending the Gene Myers, I'm assuming is doing the CME program rollout. They are moving the AEMP level to national standard curriculum. In order to do that, oral, nasal, tracheal intubation, end-tidal CO2, venous blood sampling, and direct laryngoscopy for foreign body airway instruction is coming out of the curriculum and will be coming out of the protocol when that happens. The state is going to do an add-on training for end-tidal CO2 so they can continue to utilize end-tidal CO2 monitoring. This will take around a year for them to get updated. Once it's updated, the protocols will also no longer allow them to do those. The state is asking that anybody with questions on the whole 17-year-old EMT, if you have legal questions, to get a hold of them, or you can pass them along to Ann or Debbie or myself, and we can pass them along. They want to know questions or concerns that they haven't thought of so they can have legal look into them. And some of them that have been brought up are, can they do a sign-off because they're technically not 18 and they take a refusal and stuff like that. They are trying to do some regulatory changes for Part 800, 23, 4, and 6, which involve equipment standards. The proposed changes is it's no longer going to be a legislative process, but they're mimicking a DMV code that allows the Commissioner of Health to dictate those codes. So in other words, it's not going to take an act of legislation to get mass trousers off an ambulance anymore. The CMAC accepts to allow the Commissioner to move that stuff forward. There were a lot of overturned CON actions because of not well-handled CON issues at the regional level. They want more participation for the PEC programs or Pediatric Emergency Care Coordinator. And if you do not have a way to safely transport a pediatric patient with a pediatric-specific, ambulance-specific pediatric securing device, if you don't have one, you should, because you are not meeting any form of the standard of care. And there's some educational right changes. Most of them are wording changes and some clarification to move along to the national standard curriculum. However, there is a proposed change, and this is proposed, that the term of certification be changed from 36 months to 48 months in an attempt to, I'm assuming, increase retention as well as make it easier for national registry.
For the friendly amendment to what you just said, part of that change is to allow for easier reciprocity.
And reciprocity.
If I did, that's the biggie of that.
So that is the excitement of CMAC and SEMSCO.
So just so you know, the status of our appointments to CMAC and SEMSCO, I've been following up and I've been told that Mr. Devers is that close to the finish line and that he will be vetted and set to go for the next meeting in January. And Dr. Maynard got a email with some tax information that they needed from him that he's begrudgingly getting together for them so that his can proceed as well, and he will be set for the January meeting. So we actually are going to have representation sitting at the table for the next meeting. So you will, you will. So. That's been a long process, so I don't know when the term is gonna be up. I'm hoping it's not gonna be, they're gonna put you in and it's gonna expire right off, so we have to start this whole goddamn process over again, so. I did ask that question and Valerie did not respond. I'm sure she's very busy with vital signs right now, so. Huh? Yeah, so. Any questions from the CMAC or SEMSCO meeting? Training and ed, Paul. I don't think you had a meeting, so there's probably nothing to report there.
Thanks. So one other thing, if you read over the new CNE manual, if you have any questions, please email them to myself or to Gene Myers, because I'll put them all together if you email them to me. I'm trying to get him questions people are asking to help guide his presentation.
County reports, Jefferson County, Paul.
Well, we had a busy summer. I have a whole bunch of bullets here, but I'm not gonna hit them all. We'll tell you right now, currently, we have 4 ongoing courses. One out at Fort Drum, particularly, we have 2 active duty soldiers that are in that Soldier for Life program, out processing to become civilians. So we have 2 of them in that course. The other thing, we have that CFR course is coming. Right as of today, we have 10 already enrolled, and we've got at least verbal for at least about 4 more. So it's a definite go for us. Debbie is in the midst of her teaching the senior group of students at South Jefferson High School.
That's not just seniors.
But, oh, I'm
Just
sorry,
juniors.
not just seniors. And I think we have a couple in attendance
do.
this evening, if anybody was wondering who these young folks were. These are our future, so welcome and thank you. We have an advanced class, will probably be starting in January. For the first time in over a decade, the county has all 6 zones with EMS deputy coordinators. So we have them up and partially running. All been designated, appointed, and it's a matter of getting things through the 911 center and getting all the emails and things processed. So that's moving well. During the summer, I want to at least publicly thank Indian River, Evans Mills Ambulance, Black River, South Jeff, and Carthage Area Rescue. They participated as a volunteer for the Fort Drum ice storm. I think Rich can attest that it was quite warm for an icy storm, but the county really got a lot of positive feedback from the evaluators from all over the country, just by the fact that we actually had volunteer ambulances out there to help with this disaster drill. So again, that's a attribute to the volunteers that we have in the county. Again, I thank everybody for that. The Herkimer program, it does look to be online to start doing their distant learning in January. In fact, we're meeting tomorrow to ensure that all of our AV equipment, the video and everything is working appropriately. So that's going forward. And We have a compact drill coming up later this month, which looking forward to it. See how that comes out. But other than that,
I said you about right, there was 15-ish in that Berkmer program from this area.
yes, they have a class of 62 students at Herkimer, and right now, when I talked with, met with Bob, they got lucky. They had to split their clinicals, and they just happened to get lucky to get 50% that could come during the day and 50% that could come during the night. They got lucky, he said, but when winter time comes, they're not gonna be so lucky. So, that's looking really good, but out of that group, 15 of them were from the North Country area.
One other thing, if I may, to add on to that. The plan also is that there's a Fulton cohort as well. And they're looking at sometimes bringing the Fulton folks up here to potentially do some skills and so forth to work through. This is, from where we sit as the Department of Health, this is a great way to extend programs out into the communities in areas of need. Paul has been stepped up to the plate, beautifully here to help coordinate it on this side. So I think it's going to be a really win-win all the way around. It's nice, and it's an accredited program, so it is eligible for national registry. It's really going to be a win-win.
Okay, any questions for Jefferson County report? St. Lawrence.
Poor Dan.
Both of them, for the record.
Just sitting here, you're good.
They're finishing a radio project, that will be finished probably within the next decade. Updating a mutual aid plan, unfortunately, Jonathan, who's the deputy director, we were working diligently on this mutual aid plan, with the lack of a director of emergency management, his workload has been significant, and the acting director has retired from the county, so he's pulled in one committee, which is continue working on it. They have approved an appointment for a director of emergency services that has, to my knowledge, not finalized the negotiation process yet. I believe there's one basic EMT course going on, and there was a CFR class that I don't know if they filled.
No, we did not get enough to run it. We had 3 people that actually registered in the end.
There's 20.
Refresher. I have an original.
We're gonna try to run the CFR again in the spring. Chrissy's already agreed to teach it, so.
And there's 22-ish in the original class, I believe.
Yeah.
21-ish, and 4 refreshers.
And we do have a new medical director for the.
Dr. Lincoln.
Lincoln, yeah.
Lincoln.
Yeah. McCall or Mike, but, and he's excited. He's been sending me emails of things he wants to suggest and do.
Who gave the class?
Other than that, it's going to be an interesting couple of years.
Any questions for St. Lawrence? Bob, Lewis.
Well, we already gone over the change in level from Harrisville from ALS to AMT. That was pretty tough to do, but that's just the nature of the beast. Jay helped out even a little bit with that, and I can't thank everybody for coming together to make that happen for us. It was tough to do, but we all had to do it. It's something that needed to be done. 2 at the table right now. Actually, we're at the Mid-State Education EMS Education Day, and that would be Matt and myself. That was fairly well attended. Not nearly the attendance that you get at a spring fling, but it's they're trying. So that's a little bit of shared services between the 2 regions. The BLS skills sessions, the one in Lyons Falls. hopefully we can get one scheduled in Sevo, see how that goes. I
Paperwork's
attend,
already filed for that.
what's that?
Paperwork's filed, we're just waiting for the official.
Good. So, I attended the, community, opiate forum, put on by FDR HPO. That was August 22nd. There was about 8 to 10 people there, and one thing that impressed me a lot was there was one legislator there as well, so that shows that there was at least some engagement in the community. I've got 2 agencies currently that are poking their nose around looking at a BLSFR, so we'll see further on that. And we have a BLS class running right now. I believe there's about 20 students in that. Scratch rates. We've been monitoring scratch rates, and we've actually seen a marked improvement in a couple of agencies. Nothing to write home about as far as numbers improving, but they are steadily improving. Our scratch rates run from 100% calls responded that they were dispatched to all the way down to 33%. That's actually an improvement because it was 29% at one point in time. So it's an improvement. We're not just putting these numbers together, we're actually looking at it from all different angles. We've got primary calls, mutual aid calls, transports by other agencies. In other words, they went to the call, but then saw another agency transported for them. And we're even tracking standbys at this point. So it's a soup to nuts overview of the numbers of calls in the county. I'm very, very fortunate to have a data girl in the office who puts together these great spreadsheets and actually goes in diligently every morning and tracks all this stuff. So by the end of the year, we should really have some true numbers. So we are busy, but we're plugging away.
I'm glad you corrected that, because your wife might not like to hear that you have a date in the office. That could maybe get you in trouble.
That's all good, she knows her.
Any questions for Lewis County? Moving on to old business. We had the strategic meeting, and unfortunately, over half of you did not do that Survey Monkey. So summer's over, that's gonna come back out. We need to get going on that stuff. So I'm going to resend it to everybody and ask that you please do that so that we can get some good committees going and work on the issues. We heard here tonight that we've lost some ambulance services. We can't afford to lose any more. We can't afford to lose any providers. We need to figure out as a group what we can do to help our region here and keep people responding. So we have a couple new members, so they'll be put on that list as well. I already talked to you about the CMAC and the REMSCO appointments. The other old business I have is difficult airway. So we went in and looked at the difficult airway, what our income has been, and what our expenses have been, because we wanted to see where we're at against continuing with this, because it is time to renew our contract with the difficult airway group. So the cost will be $1,200 plus travel expenses, and an additional $200 travel day fee is going to be applied. So that we have to pay to have the audit done. However, they're going to lower the certification fees. So the difficult airway class that we have to pay will go from $75 a person down to $50. And the fundamentals, BLS and ALS, will go from $50 down to $25. So we are seeing a reduction there. Paul Barter, under training in that, is going to take over the difficult airway and try to get some classes scheduled and some things. We've got Ann pulled in too many different directions, and now they're talking about putting the ATS and some of that stuff on their plate as well. So we're going to see if we can't get some classes scheduled. You know, we said we recognize this is what we wanted to do if people wanted to do RSI in the field, so this is what we need to do. And we do, with the income versus the expenses, have the money in there to cover the cost of that audit. So we will be getting that scheduled and sit down and we'll go through the contract again. We're gonna lower the number of people that we have to certify that we had way too high in here. So lowering that hopefully will help us, and we'll get that taken care of. And also gonna reach out to the Northern New York Community Foundation and see if there's possibly some funds available that we could offer these courses at a reduced rate, and try to do one in each county at a reduced rate, and try to get more people in the program. So that's the status of that. Any other old business?
Deb, if I can for 2 seconds. In the strategic meeting, you talked about half of you didn't do the Survey Monkey. When we sit down for strategic meetings on a monthly basis, the one big problem that we continually discuss is not a ton of input from a large portion of this committee. And sent out emails looking for help, ideas, comments, and gets 2 or 3 replies. Survey Monkeys are going out, and more than 50% at times of the committees not completing them. We need everybody's input in order to look at what's being looked at. And, you know, when Ann and Debbie are sending out emails, or Jonathan, please take a moment to look at them and provide input on them so that we can bring stuff back here to move forward.
Thank you. So he mentioned a strategic meeting once a month. Ann, myself, Mark, and Dr. Delaney sit down and we go through, you know, is there a major CQI issue, or is there a trend we're seeing that we need to look at, and what's going on with agencies. And I gotta tell you, some of those meetings I leave and I'm so depressed that it's really sad with what we're seeing is going on in our area. So as a group, you know, we've got 30 people that should be sitting on this council that, you know, bring forth different perspectives and different knowledge levels, and we really need everybody's input to try to help make things happen. You know, I asked some of my junior members that are in the program through the high school to attend, just to see, and I said, when you get there, take a look around and look at the age of the people that sit on this council. I said, some of us are getting old. You know, we wanna.
Speaking for yourself.
I feel your pain.
Remember this? You know, and we need young people that wanna get involved in things, so, any input, that you can provide would be truly appreciated. There's something that we need to look at that we've missed the boat on, please share that, and let's figure out what we need to do. But I think we're seeing at the state level that things are moving at a speed that we didn't think was feasible at the state level. And, you know, so I think there's just gonna be more and more changes coming, hopefully all for the better. And
Changes are gonna be for the better, but I think that each and every one of you as a REMSCO member and what our responsibilities are, you open your eyes and take a look around. And maybe it's just because I deal with all of the bad, with all of the agencies. I am watching a system that is teeter-tottering and it's close to falling. And ambulances aren't going to get out the door. So we really need to be helping our fellow agencies, looking at creative ways to work together. And I'm going to be right up front, is I wonder if the time that we spend, you know, in this large of a group is conducive, or is there a way where we can correspond differently or streamline things a little bit differently? Maybe that includes even not having a program agency. But I think we have to look at even the big structure of things. Because what we got now is not working, you guys.
Let me offer something, if I, a couple of thoughts on kind of new business, and by the way, I can have to share a description. First off, one of the ways to go out and compare and see some of what's going on, we got a thing called Vital Signs that's happening in Buffalo. I would encourage you, if you haven't taken a look at the brochure, it's one of the most expanded programs we've done in quite a period of time. I'm kind of excited about it, going back to some things we used to do, and frankly, very happy with that. That's issue one. Issue two is that as I kick around my 14 counties here, and you're not alone in this issue, but what you're up against is you're in a rural setting. You're arguably my most rural area of my 14 counties. And that has some good things and that has some bad things. Good thing is that you guys are really gritty. You're really gritty and you're really good at giving a darn about the communities and where you live. In suburbia and some of my more urban areas, it's not that level of grit. Let me just say it to you that way. That's issue one. Issue two, I guess I want to say is that times is a changing. If you're not willing to change with the times, you will be left behind. And we need to do some things to help. Now, I'm very encouraged, frankly, in what we got going with the paramedic program. Okay? We still got to figure out some solutions that are ALS solutions for St. Lawrence County, as an example. And there are nothing we haven't talked about. We need to figure out some ways to develop the next generations of leaders. Kind of cool to see the folks from high school and so forth. But when we're having these leader forums, sometimes you guys need to bring people with you. Go back to your home agency, grab somebody and bring them with you. Bring them there because it's the same, and the other problem is, it's the same names. It's the few people doing the most. And, you know, some of you may or may not know, I've been doing this a day or two. And I used to think I knew all there was about this profession. The longer I do this, the more I've learned that I know nothing. Folks, there's a tremendous amount of stuff to learn and energy to go through it. Now, yeah, the other problem we have is money, okay? We're asking to do more and more with less and less financially, okay? Shortly with this HCCC thing that's coming down, and didn't catch Ryan's letter that we had to write to the feds. This thing has come down in ways faster than we've ever seen federal legislation on patient destination that I can remember. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, basically what it's encouraging is ambulance services to be able to transport to non-hospitals, okay? That is gonna affect our financial bottom line here. In some ways it'll help us because of quicker turnaround times. In some ways it's gonna hurt us because mileage sometimes on the calls is where we're making more money than the actual base rates. If you haven't sat down at your home service and figured that out, I would suggest you do that. Because that's gonna be the next big crisis we're gonna face.
And this is what, it's the ET3 that you're
ET3,
talking about.
excuse me, I didn't, excuse me.
You know, and unfortunately, we looked at that here, it was before we had anybody in the county office, and, you know, Erica and Ginger, and, you know, we didn't have the resources to be able to pull off a demo up here.
Well, we didn't meet the criteria anyways.
Yeah.
You have to be self-dispatching and be able to do a bunch of things. So Guilfoyle would have really been the only ones that would
Well,
have been able to.
keep in mind, if I may, as the pilots are rolling and so forth, if I may, this is round one of that for future. And that's gonna be a bigger deal.
And they extended the date for the.
Right. But my point is, folks, this is where the industry is going, okay? And we need to be smarter about our resource management. That's kind of my point. And these guys, as I see, you have a strong leadership here, officers, you're very lucky to have them. But also, there needs to be more folks coming up. And by the way, I gave this same speech about 6 months ago down in Binghamton with Eric Mack, who's at a crossroads. Okay. Again, the ball's in our court. Now, and by the way, the other piece of this is too, sometimes we gotta go get our electeds. We gotta go have them understand a little better what the frick we do. They take for granted we just do this and everybody, Johnny and Roy, shows up. Paramedic, you know, and all the stuff related to that. And that ain't the case. Anyway, enough. Anyway, I just share that. Oh, by the way, let me tell you one other piece we're about to squeeze on our docs. We have a couple of physicians here in your REMAC who've done the bulk of the work related to agencies. Because of some federal laws related to narcotics, they no longer can take on as many services as they have in a couple of cases. And that means that we're gonna have to go out and find new physician direction and physician involvement, okay, to cover some of this. And that's gonna be the next problem. Now, for those of you who come from the hospital side of this, and frankly, thank you for those who are here from the hospital side. But I will also tell you, I have a story tonight of a physician who said to me that I couldn't get anybody at ABC Hospital that will go nameless to step up and be an agency medical director. So out of the goodness of their heart, they took it. I'm gonna go back, go work on next hospital executive council meeting, go work on the hospitals. If you want ALS and they want transport and all this good stuff, we need hospitals to start getting their physicians involved more too. But we're gonna be, here we are again. And again, this is not a doom and gloom speech, this is an opportunity speech. And I probably said too much.
And I will thank you, just to add in, is that there's been a group of us, and Mark and Bruce have kind of spearheaded that a little bit, that we have been meeting with different legislative reps right and left, and trying to pull as many ambulance directors in to make them aware of what's going on, so.
I look around the room and I see some of the political polls sitting in this room locally. Folks, we need it. We need it, and we're gonna need it more so as we go here, because times are getting leaner, not fatter.
Because that's what I look like most of the time these days.
Yeah, me too. My phone rings a lot too. But Eddie rings. Thank you for that indulgence.
Any new business from the floor?
It's old business and new business, but radio system was mentioned. I'll give you what I know from update on Jefferson County. Microwave antennas are going up on the towers now. But beyond, rapidly getting beyond the point where we can do the coverage testing that needs to be done before we finally accept the system. So while towers will be coming online, I'm sure over the winter, and we're going to be able to lose the plan and stuff like that, so it will not formally be online until that said, I think we're going to enjoy it once we get it, because we find out about all of the county, or we just talk to each other. It's going to be a very versatile system. I work with Fort Drum system, I just put that one online, and yeah, there's some growing pains, you have to wait a week. Lewis County knows, we have to wait a week. We start talking, some people have that problem. But, like I said, the diversity and the ability for the system to do things very good. And because we're using the Onondaga County Distortions Controller, we're going to be able to talk all the way to Onondaga County.
And if I may, the technology here shortly, Broome County is going up. So what will be able to be happening in the systems here, 5-watt portable, you will be able to talk from basically up here all the way down to Broome and Tioga County, and every part in between the 81 corridor. It's going to be here shortly. It's going to be amazing to be able to do that. So if you're doing interfacility transfers or whatever, you will have the ability to have constant radio communication back to dispatch. It's amazing.
The design coverage on the Jefferson County system is a handheld on your waist with a bell line. It's 98%.
Any other new business? So our next meeting is not scheduled till February, I'm sorry?
I had forwarded the Lewis County Mutual Aid agreement, EMS Mutual Aid agreement.
Oh, God, yes.
Oops. I'm just glad to know it is
Since-
I got caught up in the application, forgot about that. So that's why I'm like,
Anyway, if it pleases the group, I will have that submitted with this meeting's notes. Can we do that?
Yep.
And then we can vote on it at the next meeting?
Yeah, and if you need it voted on before,
Yep.
we can do it.
Yeah,
Fine.
we've already finished our process on it. We're just waiting on this group.
But can you wait until February, or do we need to do it sooner is what we need to do it sooner, we can send it out, and then have people respond, we can do a vote.
There's a certain degree of urgency to it, but I don't see why I can't wait till February. What do you think, Mark?
If you want it before then, we can send it out to everybody, I can get feedback, and then we can do a
No.
survey monkey to vote yes or no by
As long as
names.
it's not, there's nothing that's tied to funding, is there?
No, and there's nothing new, startling, or exciting on it. All it did is change some verbiage in here from low band system to VHF digital
I
trunking,
would
and
think
that's about it.
fine to wait.
Okay, so we'll make sure it goes out, and that will be on the agenda for,
Thank you.
sorry about that.
Not a problem.
That was my fault, I got tied up in that, looking for that whole application and dropped the ball. Sorry, Bob.
Any other new business?
I forgot.
So again, we're not scheduled to meet again until February 3rd, but if the CON paperwork comes in and we have to meet sooner, you'll see a request for that. And, you know, if we need to cancel due to weather, we will try to do that by 2 o'clock, so that you know what's going on, so you don't start this way. Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
I make that motion.
Motion to close, second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you so much.